So, a quick good afternoon, and this is my review of the new Pioneer DJ app for iOS. Currently using it on an iPad Air 2, so it works lovely on the Air 2. And I think, to be honest with you, after the release of Rekordbox, this was probably the next logical step for Pioneer. The app is called WeDJ. We can see it on the screen there, and it is an app designed for use with the WeGo controller. So the WeGo 3 and the WeGo 4, I believe, are the two supported controllers at the moment for this particular app. But you can use it directly on the iPad, and I believe it's a great idea as a backup app when you're out working. So I have been for the last few years using either Tractor DJ on the iPad, or I've been using Cross DJ on the Android on a Samsung Galaxy Tab. But I do honestly think that I'll be moving to this. This has proved to be a great little app in the time I've been playing with it. So let's give you a bit of an overview, let you see exactly what the app has, what it does, my couple of little complaints as to things it doesn't do, and obviously just have a play with it, and we'll see how it goes. So here we are into the main screen of the app, and as you can see, it's a pretty traditional iPad app setup. From the top left hand side, and we'll go down the left hand deck. I'm not going to repeat everything on the second side on the right hand deck because we know that they're going to be identical. So straight away you've got the pink number 1 and the little flashing note there. That's actually the cover art logo position. And then of course you can go into your iTunes library and pick a track. I'm going to use this Hurley Mower stuff for the demo. I do like his stuff, and it does work really well, and it's probably not going to get me into trouble for playing something that I shouldn't be playing, as it's free download stuff as well. Massive thank you, and I will link up Hurley Mower in the description as well. So as you can see, as soon as it loads, you can see that the deck itself comes up with the cover art with the BPM in the center and the percentage of the pitch. Underneath the name on the top of the screen there, you can see an RGB waveform. Gives you a good idea of the track itself, how it's built, where the breaks are, and where the fade in and the fade out on the intros are. We can see that there is a plus minus 10. That's your pitch range. You can change that. That can be changed to 16%, wide 6%. 10% is going to be about what you would want on here. If you want it a bit more accurate, you're going to go for the 6%. And below the bottom here, the little red button, that one there is the master tempo, as Pioneer like to call it. As we go down slightly to the right here, in the middle, underneath the WeDJ logo, we've got a record option, and we've got our settings screen. The settings are very basic. With the audio side, you've got what you would expect, a master volume, and also an option to split the output like you do with the Tractor software. In the general, we've got options for auto gain, a trim control, so that's within the mixer section, which I'll show you in a moment. You can disable that or enable that as you wish. The quantize function, I'm personally not a fan of quantize. I do feel that sometimes it restricts a mix if the beat grid on the track is slightly out, so I don't tend to use quantize too much. Crossfader curve, you've got two options there. You've got a slow curve or a really sharp curve. Track loading, you've got your standard auto cue, so it'll go to that first cue point. Reset EQ, I've got that on because I like everything to be flat when you load the track, and adjust it if you need to for the track. And then of course load lock to prevent you loading another track while one is already playing on the deck. You've got your BPM range with a couple of options here. This is just to help with the analysis of the tracks and the way that the system reads the tracks. And then finally you've got your start time and your stop time. These are your deck start, you know, when you get a break on the slowdown and a break on a slow build on the start. That's what that is there for. And oh, missed one out there. View is just a couple of changes, so you can change the color of your waveform to blue, or you can change it to a cover art. You've got cover art mode, so you can turn that on or off. And also you've got animation. I'll explain the animation in a moment. And you've got cloud tracks. I've not played with the cloud tracks yet. Might be something I'll look at in a later video, but not for today. And then information is just the details about the app, some guides and some other information. And of course, there you go, the details about the two supported controllers, the WeGo 3 and the WeGo 4. From there, below there, we've got the button in the center here, which is showing you the two platters. You can change that to horizontal waveforms, or you can change it to vertical waveforms. Vertical waveforms and horizontal waveforms will give you a slicer option, which is very similar to the, I think they call it flux mode in Tractor, the freeze in flux mode even. And also you've got a few other options as well. So let's just go to a basic track and play. So it works very much how you would expect it to with the Pioneer style controller. They've kept that traditional Pioneer cue and play button appearance. So the first gripe that I've got, and really this is quite early in the video to bring this up, but I'll explain why in a second. It has a really responsive scratch function, and that's in any of the three modes, the horizontal, vertical or platter mode. It's quite nice to use. I'm no scratch artist, but it does have that really quick, low latency response to what you're doing, and I do like that a lot. The problem I have with this is there is no pitch nudge facility. If your track is slightly out of sync, anytime you touch the platter or the waveform in any view, there is no nudge, there is no slight adjust of the BPM. So that a bit of a gripe for me there with that. You've got your sync function as well, as you do with most apps these days. Not a fan myself, but I'm not going to ignore it. It is there. If you want to use it, you can use it. You can see I've just loaded a track into the second deck. It's The Way by Hurley Mower as well. And as you can see on the left hand deck, that pulsation, that's that animation I was talking about a moment ago. As I say, you can turn that off if you wish to. If we just turn that, there we go, we get a static deck. So hitting the sync button, we can see that it's moved both decks to 93, and there was a nice little animation around the decks when you do that. And if we just pop back to the waveform view, we can see the track is set nicely in either view for the start. I'm not going to attempt to mix this. So although I wasn't going to attempt to mix it, that didn't sound too bad, did it really? So you've probably seen a couple of buttons in the middle, 3 or 4 buttons in the middle of the screen here that I've not explained yet. 2 of them being slip. I'm sure you understand what that is. If I hit the slip button, you'll see the track continues in the top there. You'll see the little grey line continuing to move in the waveform there, and the yellow line is where I've held the track. As soon as I let go, it will carry on from where it should have been in the track if I hadn't have held the deck. Nice function. It's pretty standard in apps these days. This is something I really like about this app. This is a very good little feature. So this is 4 customizable units, 2 for each deck. And as you can see at the moment on the right hand deck that's playing at the moment, we've got mixer in the top, so you've got your trim function. Use that little bit of boost of volume if needs be. And you've got your standard low, mid and high. Double clicks on everything, bring it back to where it should be. And below we've got it currently set at sampler, but you can have your hot cues. Quite responsive, no latency really when re-hitting them. To delete them, just hit the little X and then hit the hot cues that you want to remove. Standard loop stuff, you can do a manual loop, so that's probably where you want to use quantize if you're going to do a manual loop. Not for me, I'm not a quantize fan. You have got your standard auto loop stuff, so hitting the 4 at the top there. You can reduce it down. Pretty standard range, going right the way down to 1/32 and all the way up to 32 beats. So pretty standard loop stuff there. combo effects, I'm really liking this. So on this particular setup, I've got it down as a pitch and transform. So the transform is on the up and down, and the pitch is on the left. Sorry, no, transform is on the left to right, and the pitch is on the up and down. So you can get some really nice effects out of the combo effects. You can hit the little edit button there and choose something different. So we'll change it to a filter and a flanger just for the sake of it. Nice, really like that, great little effect. Pad effects, they've transferred this across from Rekordbox, and they've done a good job of this. I didn't know how this was going to go within this tight functionality of this system. Like that little release effects. As with most of the stuff on here, this is all customizable. You can go in and you can change your slip loops. You can change your filters, your rolls. The last one here, the release effect, is slightly different. There is only so much you can do. You can only pick one of 3 effects for that. And as I say, usual, go back. And then you've got your sampler. Sampler is set at 8 functions at the moment. You can change that to different packs. That's something I wouldn't personally use, but I know there are a lot of people out there that do like to use stuff like the horns and the sirens. But it's not a bad little sampler. It's not going to be anything like what you would get with one of the other bigger systems. What I will say is I like the fact that I've changed the mixer to the bottom and it moves the sampler up to the top, so it will adjust everything to fit in out on the screen without any problems. You can hide the second section so that you can get to the platters and everything. You can still control everything on the top of the screen as well, so we can get back to play the track. There we go. And pressing the dots in the center will get rid of both panels. Your pitch control is pretty accurate. It's not as accurate as you get on obviously a big control, a manual slider, but even in the +6, -6 range, it's not bad. It's quite decent, to be honest with you. I have not found it too much of an issue trying to get to points in tracks or anything like that, so I'm quite happy with that. The auto mix function will pick up another track in the background, and it'll sit there and it'll wait until the time to play it. I'm not going to use it on that particular track. Let's put something else in there. We'll put gems in there. We'll skip this across to the end of the track. We'll give it a check. So the auto mix function is just going through tracks that I have in my collection. I'm not going to go down that route with those at this moment in time due to the copyright side of things, so apologies if you wanted to hear any of them. But I have to be honest, going back to, actually we'll go back and have a quick look at the last couple of features that I've missed out here really with the waveform side of things. As I said to you, there is a flux mode, a freeze frame mode in Tractor DJ, and Pioneer continue that type of functionality with their slicer. Works very much in the same way as it does on the SX range of controllers, the Serato side of things, and of course the Pioneer Rekordbox software. It will freeze the 8 frames, and then you can juggle around with them. You can see they're highlighted in blue when they're playing and green when they're not. You can access slicer in each side as well, whether you're on the vertical or the horizontal. It does utilise the slicer function within this so that it carries on playing where it should do. And also you can see here you've got a reset button and a plus and minus. That way you can change what you can see within. There you go, within the waveform. Makes it a lot smaller, so Grid functionality, that is for editing, I believe. I've not managed to get to actually look at that in too much depth either. Let's have a quick look while we're sat here. Yeah, so you've got your reset and set buttons there. Got reset. Let's set there. There we go. So that's moved direct to the front of that beat, and it has changed that. That's moved that first section of the grid for you. It is a little bit on the clunky side, but as I say, you're going to get these kind of things. For the general playability of the app and the general usability, I do think the WeDJ is a fantastic app. I think it's a lot more stable, a lot more enjoyable to use than a lot of the other apps that are around at the moment. And to be honest with you, as I said previously, I do think this is going to be my go-to app for the future, for the moment. I do think it's got the ability to progress, whereas Track to DJ hasn't done recently, and it's pretty stable. I probably will consider whether to get a WeGo to go with it as a backup option. The WeGos do have a slot for the iPad, so it will just sit into the back of the WeGo, and you can play it from there. Let us know what you think of the app. Let us know if you agree with my criticisms of the app, but also with the views of the app. Is there a DJ app you want me to review and you want me to go through? I'll happily look and do that. Leave comments in the description below. Leave your comments in the description. No, leave your comments in the comments section below. I'll leave a link to the iTunes store for this app in the description. A link to Hurley Mower's tracks. Thanks very much to Hurley Mower for those. And they're all on SoundCloud, free download stuff. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to rate, thumbs up, thumbs down, whichever you feel. And I will see you on my next little talk through video. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you later.